I am.
Recording in progress. Welcome back,
Hi,
Miss Jamie.
everyone. Hi, you guys. Welcome back to the show. Today we're going to talk about stopping chaos and why your business feels so out of control and how to fix it.
Yeah, we're gonna give some insights.
Yes, I feel like gosh, how many of us have just it always feels like chaos. This is where I'm like, okay, the reason why it feels like chaos is I'm going through a growth spurt. I've
Mhm.
come to realize that this is a growth spurt of something, and that's why it feels because we get stuck on being
Be comfortable.
yeah, comfortable. Okay, everything's working, let's not change anything. But you can't. You can't. That's not growing. Uh,
No.
and
And
that
sometimes we'll squat there. We're like, yeah, this feels good. I can do this. And
yeah, I
sometimes,
can do it. Okay, I will say that I do get a lot of analysis paralysis. That means that I will analyze the numbers over or whatever the case may be, over analyzing, trying to put together my employee handbook. Oh, and it feels like chaos. So I get so like I'm analyzing everything over and over, and I analysis paralysis is what I call it. I just stop and cannot make a move.
I could see that being a thing for sure, because it can be. It's a bigger project, right? Everyone's like, you need an employee handbook, you need an employee handbook, you need an employee handbook. There are actually two that have been borrowed. They're not mine, copyright, but you
Mhm.
could take segments of them. I'm not infringing on copyright. I'm just saying that you could probably borrow for initial language and you could actually have one of the AIs help you with the final part of it, especially
Right.
the legality. I went to an AI seminar yesterday because I wanted to see if there was anything I didn't know. I didn't know there was an actual AI just for legal things.
Oh, okay.
There's a
Interesting.
specific AI for medical things. There's a specific AI for legal things. Don't ask me what those are, but I was like,
Right.
I got notes. So I was like, well,
Yes.
this would be interesting because I it would be nice to have, if you had a legal question, I'm sure there's a certain format you have to do. I don't know if it's paid or unpaid, if it's like ChatGPT or not. Um, so I think that you could make quicker work out of it, but it is a larger project because you're taking like Jamie and I have talked about, you're taking what's inside your head, the experiences you've had thus far, you're articulating them and like almost vomiting them out on paper, and you're like, does this make sense? And
Mm.
then there's a procedure, right? If this situation happens, and not everyone has time to go look at the three ring binder, right? I've mentioned in the past, maybe not here. I used to work for the Metropolitan Museum of Art. They legitimately, those really thick binders they sell at Staples or Office
Yes.
Max that are like
Yes.
5 inches across. Their employee handbook, because the Metropolitan Museum of Art has been around for over 100 years, was two of those puppies. And they expect you to read all that paper. I'm like, I'm not fucking reading that.
No, no.
It's not
Kiss my
happening.
ass. Yes. Kiss
I
it.
just want to know if I have a problem, what thing I should do. It's like paragraph three, section four, blah blah blah. And then it
Right.
read like a dental history, right? I'm like, this is really like not interesting reading at all. So it was very painful. So I can understand why it would, but if you want a starting point, start somewhere
You
and
have to like
put in
enough
little bits at a
thinking.
time.
Yeah, there's been enough thinking about it. It's time to actually put it in place. And that's why I wanted to bring that up, is because this is something that we're talking about. Why chaos inside what it kind of feels like. And to me, that's what it feels like. But we're going to give you small, achievable steps, like the
Right.
podcast says in the beginning, small, achievable steps to implement how to fix
Right.
that.
And I think before well, let me premise it with this. If you have chaos, it's not a direct correlation to you. It's not a personality flaw. It's just because you haven't addressed whatever the issue is. So don't take chaos as a personal decision. Just know that it's something it's asking for your attention so that you can resolve it, so that you can move on to the next thing.
Right,
And I've
right.
noticed that if you don't choose to resolve it, it just festers and then it gets really big. And then you have this massive explosion and people could quit, customers could leave, those types of things. And you work really hard to get where you are. So, you have to, unfortunately, you have to address the chaos, whatever that is. And that's a big difference between growth and being self-created chaos. Sometimes we see this a lot. I do it myself, self-sabotaging, right? That dialect in your house, I am not worthy, I am not worthy. What do I do this? What do I do here? Oh my God, I'm not worthy. Um, do you still do that, Jamie? I know I do. Every once in a while I get like,
Kind of like
ooh.
an imposter syndrome. Yes. I felt like that, especially um, whenever I was able to purchase a house. Like I felt like I just felt like I had no business being up this high. And I'm not to sound privileged or anything, but to think, because I'm telling you guys, I did not think I would be anywhere close to this 4 years ago. Whenever I started, I thought, oh, this will be a great way to earn a little bit of extra cash, that I can pay off some of these credit card debt. Um, that because I was very naive and silly with credit cards back in the
They
day.
all do it.
Yeah, and so I was needed to a way to earn extra money and just whatever. And then whenever I started taking it serious, and to within my first 2.5 years, 3 years, before the 3 years, I was able to purchase a home.
Right.
Uh, So that imposter syndrome,
It
it,
sneaks up on you.
it really does.
It affects
Or
everyone, whether
whenever
they say it or
I'm
not.
making a new product,
Mhm.
uh, that has creeped, like I never thought I'd be anywheres where I'm at. And that's not in a bad way either. I'm not thinking of this in a bad way. I think that I have blown people's minds that have known me for 30 years or something. Both of my parents are no longer here, but I think that people are just like, wow, they would have never suspected that I would have be here. Um, and yeah, imposter syndrome sneaks in. Um, not as much as it used to. Because now I'm like, well, I have every freaking right to be where I'm at. I built this damn thing, you know? But bringing on something new, a whole new business, which is some cleaning products, uh, I see it creep in sometimes. So um, I think that with any project you do, it can creep in until
Right.
you're
I think that also while we're talking about this, when you get to a certain level of success, a lot of people are not comfortable with the success, so they self-sabotage. They
right.
do stupid things publicly or say things publicly that they really shouldn't be saying, or then they won't take it back or they won't retract what they said and they said, well, I'm entitled to say it. And then we all kind of look and go, ooh, right? So that a lot of that is self-created. I know a lot of people, I'm not going to name names because I'm not wanting to shame anybody, who have gotten themselves in a certain position and then they become this entity to deal with, this containment that needs to happen. And they create this chaos, right? And then they're like, well, then the victimhood comes in, right?
Yeah.
I, for
Yep.
those of you who don't know a little bit about my background, I was actually a handicapped child and I had the piss beat out of me all through sixth grade. I was like picked on every day from third grade to sixth grade. It was awful and I wouldn't want it to go on anybody, but it makes you bootstrap a lot of things and it comes with a certain amount of grit. And it's not like I survived. It gives me background on why I do what I do, right? I'm not about public shaming. I'm not about calling people out. Get into a certain financial aspect in our industry or not a financial aspect. They just become a leader. And then it becomes this whole dynamic of I'm going to say this because I can. And
Mhm.
you don't want to create, it's hard enough as it is to make it in this industry and be successful and be long term, like 15 years like me. If you self-sabotage yourself as basically the long, the long
Long next,
dissertation.
well,
I didn't
no,
jump down that far.
yeah, yeah. They create chaos. They have created chaos. They need to get control. Some of these people need to get control of the chaos that they have created and try start to fix and build because they are leaders.
Right,
Um, uh, just because you've made it to a certain achievement doesn't mean you get to be assholes, you know.
right. And
Uh,
we won't
eh,
go into detail what we've seen in her, but we've all seen it. I'm eating popcorn. So
yeah.
I'm like, ouch, right? So
And there's several, yeah. So in this episode, we're going to cut why chaos is a leadership signal, not a personality flaw. That's so true. The difference between growth, chaos, and self-created chaos. Ooh. How underpricing and clear scope create daily fires.
oh my gosh, that's a big one.
That's huge. Why being flexible often destroys consistency. The systems that remove chaos without burning you out. And what happens when you stop reacting and start enforcing. Yeah.
These are all big topics. So we kind of went over the leadership signal and the difference between growth chaos and self-created chaos. The underpricing and unclear scope creates daily fires. And what that means to me, and we can see what Jamie has to say after I say it, is Shannon picks up the phone, takes the sales call. Mrs. Smith goes, "Hey, can you guys get this chandelier that I have hanging in my foyer that leads up the stairs with a high duster?" And then Shannon says, without thinking about it, because I don't do this at all, I'm not allowed to answer the phones all the time for a lot of reasons. But okay, sure, no problem. The cleaning tech can, take a wand, a Swiffer wand or whatever and get it. Well, the cleaning tech takes the Swiffer wand, touches it like ding, and the whole chandelier falls on the ground, impales the cleaning tech, and you got a workman's comp case, and then you have damages because the chandelier had glass beams that bounced on the floor and hit the wall. We've talked about this specific incident
I
on
don't.
more than one episode. So you just inadvertently, not only did you not charge for it, you've caused a workman's comp claim, and then you've caused damage in a client's home. Whereas if you said, no, we are not able to do that, you need to call the chandelier place that comes up from Scottsdale, and they're happy to, black it or whatever they do to clean those types of things. So that was beyond the unclear scope. So that's what we were talking about. So, or it happens a lot with waiting tables, right? How many, if I've given the example of the ranches, right? You go to a restaurant and Susan gives you 10 ranches when you really only need two, and the other person who's brand new, who's been trained thoroughly, only gives you the two ranches, and you have a cow and you let the other girl know by lighting her butt on fire that normally Susan gives us 10. Why can't we have 10? And then the new employee goes, well, we have to charge you for each and every one. So again, scope,
So I call this scope creep.
right?
It starts off so slowly too.
It does. It sneaks
But
in there.
again, if you go back and listen to the podcast, I don't know which episode it is, but we talk about the five phases of basically building your business.
Mhm.
Um, I believe we talk about a little bit of scope creep. However, um, we want to take the emotion out of everything.
Right.
I have built a system to if they wanted an add-on room to add a room on that they don't normally have. Um,
And
but
why it costs more money, right?
right, right. So it's structured in. My employees know how, my team leads know how to go in there because they have permissions and to add on an extra room and what it charges and boom, it's there. My clients have been they know They know that we don't allow for scope creep. And I don't call it that, but that's in effect what it's called.
Right.
Little by little, they add a little bit, or you go there for a maintenance clean and you end up trying deep cleaning every time. And it's like, no, no,
Can you not do this bedroom and clean can you hard scrub the master bath? Nope.
yeah,
Not without extra money.
no, we needed to schedule extra time
Right.
for that. That has to be scheduled. Um, my cleaning techs, they got to be on a schedule. They have a checklist, a
Right.
digital checklist. The client sees the digital checklist that they have to go off of by, and they have to be done at a certain time. Because
Because
you
there's a second client after that client
right,
gets back.
exactly, second client afterwards. And so it's all got to be scheduled, and paid for.
Right. So, and then if you don't charge it, I believe we did have another podcast about adding on items and doing things for free. So you can check out that episode. I don't remember what episode it was. And then why being flexible often destroys consistency. So when you allow it for the when I first got into management back in the day, the biggest lesson I ever got was I had to be consistent. So if I'm going to do for one, I have to do for all. So if I give Susan the exemption to not have to charge for that ranch dressing, then I have to not charge for ranch dressing on all of the rest of the tables.
Right.
Or if I give Susan the free scope, and this is why the 50% commission off of the oven cleanings came about too, because I wanted to make it worth their while so that they knew that if they upcharge, they also got a $45 bonus, right? So that was on top of their pay that they were making. And it had to be realistic because again, just the second client's not going to be mad. They're going to be mad when you're late, or
Right.
then their day is inconvenient. So it's just kind of inconsistent. So you have to have that in your structure of your schedule, and if you don't, then it becomes a problem. Like I mentioned, I have a client who has been monthly for 5 years now, and this last year has been a little rough for her, and she's always canceling. So I finally called her the other day. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And push comes to shove, I realize that she's going through cancer treatment. Well, it's helpful to know this, right? I don't want to push
Yeah.
her off the schedule if she's having cancer treatment. I would only want to push her off the schedule if she was being chronic and it was being intentional. And she's like, unfortunately, because of my doctor's appointments, I've had to shuffle things around. I'm really sorry and thank you for keeping me on the schedule. I know how hard it is. But I didn't before, I was just getting irritated, right? So
Yeah. Yes.
that's the kind of flexibility you need to have in those types of circumstances, and you can decide whether you want to accommodate someone who's going through treatment from cancer. Maybe you can't. Maybe your schedule is too tight to do that, and you say, hey, I'm going to have to pull you off the schedule, and when it kind of stabilizes, I can put you back on the schedule. But with cancer patients, you want to make sure that their environment stays clean so they don't get infected and all that other stuff. So
Absolutely. And
um
it's so hard because they still have families to take care of, and
right.
yeah. But uh you do the flexibility does come. You can make your own decisions how you want to run your business. This again, it's the beautiful thing about this is that your business at the end of the day. But you
Right.
do have to have something structured so that it's uh easily followed by somebody other than you.
Right.
It cannot live up in your head constantly. I mean, if you're a solo cleaner, and this is not throwing any shade to our solo cleaning business friends, none whatsoever. This is we're talking about when we're ready to start scaling and taking on employees, and you know, don't get like me with the analysis paralysis too. Um, but so what happens whenever you stop reacting and start enforcing? Um, Things look a little different, don't they? That you start putting
They
those.
do. You do get pushback initially because they've not had any boundaries. They're like, remember when you were a teenager, you have to be home by 9 o'clock. Well, why do I have to be home at 9 o'clock? All my friends getting home until 10. Right?
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
what it's
and
like.
let me tell you how this looks in our business. I I had somebody do a scope creep with me. I had pulled off two rooms to accommodate a certain price for this person. Come to find out, this person just is constantly on the phone talking bad, according, I guess she's home, she's an old elderly lady, about all these other different businesses, and she's always trying to get something extra out of. Well, I dealt with her for probably a year and a half, and I upped her price, and I said, "Good news, though. We can either take those two rooms off completely, but you're still getting a 15, wait, no, it was yeah, no, $10 increase,
which is small.
which is small, or we can leave them on and you can do the $25 pricing." She made sure she got that day done, and I knew it was coming. I was like, "Well, which one would you like to choose?"
Right.
And she goes, "Um, I would like to cancel." And I was like, "Thank you. Thank you." Took out itself. No offense. And I feel I would love to warn all my other cleaning business owners out there of this person. But I'm so happy to have her off of our schedule. Um, wasn't we weren't Nobody was making any money. The only person that was really making the money was the cleaning tech. And I I think I was starting to go almost into the red. I mean, it was made no sense at all.
You were
So,
paying for the privilege. And a lot of people with bad habits will continue to have bad habits until they run out. I mean, I've come across people in my town. We have 60 micro cleaning companies in my town, and we have five big boys. Um, who've gone through every single person. And I'm like, yeah, and I've had to tell people very gently, I'm like, you've gone through every cleaning person in town. That says a lot, blanket statement, right? Well, what do
mhm.
you mean? Nobody knows how to clean. I'm like, look, there are 60 micro cleaning companies and five big boys. That's 65 businesses you have gone through because no one can make you happy. You might want to consider cleaning it yourself. And then it became the how dare you, how dare you, how dare you. I'm like, well, my schedule, me, my
Yeah.
schedule's full, even though I want to stick the finger in her face. My
Oh
schedule's
yeah.
full. I have a
You
wait
will.
list until about April. Would you like me to put you on there? Well, I guess so. And then she'll actually call me back to see in April if I have any room. I'm like, no.
Oh, no, no, no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I'm like, no, she's a pain in the butt.
I've had somebody, and she's called me back twice. And the last time, I don't think she realized it was like, I've dealt with you before. I've actually, whenever I very first began, had cleaned this house. There are five bathrooms, and I'm just like, she says it was so much. I got five bathrooms. She has gone through every cleaner. Right now she's with somebody that's solo apparently, and she's seen one of my ads on the local um thing, and she goes, "I just think that's great, but I have this cleaner now that is just." She thinks $75 is an hour is, oh no. Oh no, no, is what she told me. And I said, "No, actually that sounds about right." She broke it down to hourly. I was like, thank goodness I have not heard back from her. And whoever is cleaning her house continue to get that $75 an hour. I know that I knew that she was charging flat rate. So good for you if you end up listening to this. Because I
Love
know.
it.
Mhm. So,
They're out there, and we still deal with that. Ironically, it's funny. We keep progressing along, but there's still those old articulate individuals who want to make everyone else miserable. Just keep on marching on, and you don't give them any thought. It happens.
well,
Um,
that's when the decisions of emotional instead
mhm.
of structural. This is how the chaos starts to simmer down because it's not such an emotional decision. You have your structures in place. This is what you've built. You've already built that. It's in there. It's not such an emotional decision, and it
Right.
makes it easier.
And it makes it easier not to react to. So when it's
Yes.
emotional and you don't take it personal, and it's like, my schedule's full. And they'll call back a third time. I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry. My schedule is full. And then, it's just constantly just smile, say it with a smile, I'm sorry, my schedule's full.
Yeah.
And they'll eventually get it like, wow, her schedule's really full. And then it becomes a whole entitlement thing. I'm going to get on that schedule. And you're like, no, you're not. My schedule's full.
No, it'll always be full. But yeah, but you're also setting up your boundaries right there, right? Right. And then the pricing problems always show up as an operational stress. Boy, I can't tell you how much that person being on my schedule was so stressful. And it was just
Keeping my fingers crossed, nothing bad happens. Keeping my
it was
fingers
a thorn
crossed.
in my side and just
Exhausting.
yeah. So, and I made a system. It protects me, my employees, our energy, and I continue to stay in that leadership role,
Hmm.
showing my cleaning techs that, you know what, we don't have to deal with this. And so
Yep, protecting your time, your energy, and your role in the business.
yeah,
Um, so having structures in place is super important, whether you start big or small. Usually, the structure goes like this: you're bootstrapping and you're like, oh my God, how do I, then the price thing comes up, and then you have to have the price conversations, and then we have to have the price increase conversations. And then at that point, you're going to start to add in structure, a little bit of a contract agreement here, a little bit of contract agreement there. And the reason why is because you want to put a stop. This fits within this boundary, and if it doesn't fit, then I can't accommodate you. The reason why we charge $250 for a monthly cleaning isn't because I want to stick it to people, because
right,
genuinely that's what it costs to keep a $250 clean on my schedule in a monthly capacity. If I'm not making that, it's not worth it to sit on my schedule. So that eliminates a lot of people. That's going to eliminate grandmas and grandpas who cannot afford the $250, which is fine. And it
right,
covers 3.5 hours of labor. And the reason why we do that, or 3.5 to 4 hours, is so that because monthly cleanings take more detail. There's not a lot of feather dusting you can do in a monthly. You have to wipe a lot of that stuff. There's a
yeah.
lot of more maintenance because it's been a longer period of time. And you
That's how
can,
I spin it too. That I'm
right.
like, there's more dust, there's more accumulation. It's not a quick whoop, whoop, wipe.
And it's
Uh,
because they don't walk in those rooms, so they don't see how much. And you're like,
yeah, they're
yeah.
like, whoa. And that's stuff that you learn as you go along that, oh, monthlies do take a little bit longer. You need to learn your production rates. You gotta learn. That is something,
There's a podcast about that too.
yes, I cannot stress that enough. That is something that goes all into this, your production rates. Um,
We won't talk about KPIs here either.
yeah,
But this is just how to stop some of the chaos in your business. It's baby steps. We look forward to your questions. Again, if you're looking to be a sponsor on the show, we have all kinds of sponsorship packages. Please reach out to myself or Jamie. We're happy to sit down and talk to you about what your needs are. And
you're
obviously, if you have time and you remember, give us a 5-star review that tells the other algorithm that, hey, we're worthy.
I need to reach more people like you guys that are listening, and just starting off, and some people, and not everybody's just starting off either.
Right.
I don't matter. This podcast is for anybody, and we hope that we're reaching new heights and new people, and we just absolutely love you guys. So we'll talk to
Yes.
you guys soon.
Take care.
Bye.